The moment it snapped. I don't remember when I started shaking. Maybe it was when I saw the number, $342.19. That's all that was left in my account. Or maybe it was the voice behind me. Sarcastic. Smug. Like it was all just a joke. Don't freak out. We only borrowed a little. You've got more than enough. I turned around slowly, still staring at the phone in my hand. And there he was. Ethan, my sister's husband. Leaning on the kitchen counter like this was just another Sunday. Beer in one hand, that lazy smile that always made me feel erased. My sister, Marla, didn't even look up from her glass of wine. She was sprawled across the couch like it was just another family night. Nothing to see here. Just a little casual financial abuse. It was over 10 grand yesterday, I said. My voice cracked on the last word. Now there's barely enough for groceries. They didn't even flinch. Marla let out a sharp laugh and rolled her eyes. You're always so dramatic, Ava. We just needed a little help. It's not like you're hurting. A little help? $10,940. Gone. Just like that. 2 years of saving. Every side hustle. Every missed vacation. Every time I stayed in while friends went out. It had all built towards something. A cushion. An emergency fund. A future. And now it was gone. With no warning. No permission. Not even a heads-up text. I clenched my phone so tight I thought it might shatter. Where did the money go? Ethan shrugged, like I was being ridiculous. Rent. Groceries. A car repair. You know, essentials. That's not helping, I said through gritted teeth. That's theft. From the dining room, my mother called out over her knitting needles. Oh, come on, Ava. You're being selfish again. Selfish. Of course. Because I didn't want to be robbed by the people who claimed to love me. She didn't even look up. Just kept knitting. I turned toward her, disbelief clawing up my throat. You knew? Not exactly, she muttered. Marla said she needed a little for the rent. I assumed you'd be okay with it. You always are. And my father? Sitting in his recliner, eyes glued to his iPad. Didn't even glance up. You always were the responsible one, he said. It's just money. You'll make more. And in that moment, it hit me. I didn't have a family. I had dependents. Users. People who saw me not as a daughter or sister, but as a resource. A lifeline. A wallet. I turned, grabbed my jacket, and slung my bag over my shoulder. Where are you going? Mom asked, not moving an inch. I looked at them one last time. You'll find out soon. But don't worry. Next time we talk, it'll be official. They chuckled. They thought I was bluffing. Just another overreaction. But when I stepped out that door, when the night wind hit my face, I knew. This wasn't about money. It was about something much darker. This was betrayal wrapped in family ties. And I wasn't walking away because I was weak. I was walking away because something in me had snapped. Not loudly, not violently, but permanently. A house with no apologies. I came back the next morning. Not to make peace. Not to talk it out. I came back for one thing, to see if any of them even knew they'd done something wrong. Mom opened the door, still in her robe, hair a little messy, coffee smell hanging in the air like everything was just normal. She didn't even flinch. Ava, she said, like she was greeting the mailman. You should have called first. You know why I'm here. I walked in without waiting. My voice? Cold, flat, like steel straight from the forge. She sighed like I was being the difficult one again. Look, don't blow things out of proportion trying to survive. Is that what this is? I cut in. Because what it looks like is theft. Dad was in the same recliner, same iPad, same silence. Dad, I said louder than I needed to. You knew too, didn't you? He flipped a digital page like it was a reflex. Don't talk like you're blaming us. You're the only one doing well here. You have a job, savings, your own apartment. If you don't help, who else will? My jaw tightened, so hard my teeth ached. You think because I'm stable, you get to take from me? Without asking? That's not helping. That's entitlement dressed up in family excuses. Mom sat down at the table, fingers laced, calm, patronizing. Marla and Ethan are going through a rough time. He lost his job. The baby's always sick. They're struggling. And you? You're alone. No dependents. You're not struggling. I let out a bitter laugh that didn't feel like mine. Right. Because I don't have a husband or a child, I'm your safety net. Because I made better choices, I get punished for it. I pulled out the printouts I had spent half the night preparing. Bank transactions. Line by line. Every unauthorized charge. Ethan's car payment, $1,200. Marla's furniture, $980. Random grocery deliveries, utilities, gift cards. Total, over $11,000. I laid the sheets out on the kitchen table like a courtroom. Dad glanced at them once, didn't even blink. Mom shifted but didn't say a word. Anything? I asked. Azari, an explanation? Even a fake one? Mom finally spoke. Softly. But there was poison in the honey. You've always cared more about money than people. That line. That sentence. It sunk like a stone into my chest. And yet, I stared right at her. No, I care about respect. And in this house, there's none of that left. Neither of them looked me in the eye. And it wasn't guilt that kept their eyes low. It was indifference. They didn't think they were wrong, not even close. To them, I was just the responsible one, the one who always bailed everyone out, the walking, breathing plan B. I folded the papers back into the folder. This is the last time I speak to either of you without a lawyer present. That got their attention. Dad looked up. Mom's mouth opened, but no words came out. Good. Let the silence do the talking for once. I walked out again, slower this time, heavier. Not because I doubted myself, but because grief doesn't just come when someone dies. Sometimes, grief comes when the truth finally lands. And the truth is this: I never had a family. I just had people I owed things to. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my car, phone in my lap, the same screen glowing back at me. $342.19. I laughed, a dry, frozen laugh. Not because it was funny, but because, what else do you do when everything you believed in collapses in silence? I drove. Not home. Just away. Through neighborhoods I used to love. Streetlights I used to walk under as a teen with dreams bigger than my city. But the more I drove, the more memories I couldn't escape. And none of them were new. Not one. They didn't steal from me last night. They'd been draining me for years. The ledger of silence. I didn't drive home. Didn't even know where I was headed. I just kept turning left, then right, like maybe somewhere between street signs and shadows, I'd find clarity. But all I found were memories. Uninvited, sharp, relentless. They came crashing through the windshield, like they'd just been waiting for me to stop pretending. I remembered the first time Marla called me at midnight. She'd just given birth to Emma. Ethan had lost another job. Her voice shook. Ava, I'm scared. We might get kicked out. Can you help with rent? $1,300. I wired it that night. No questions. No repayment plan. No mention of it ever again. Then there was the time Mom's phone got cut off. She didn't even call, just sent a single text. Spent too much. Can't pay the bill. Help? I paid it. When I followed up, she said, "Oh, it's fine now. Thanks." That was it. No gratitude. Just expectation. Dad? One March afternoon, he called straight up. Car's dead. Garage says I need a new engine. Are you asking me to pay for it? Why else would I call? What's the point of having a kid? He laughed. I laughed, too awkward, tired, confused. I sent the money anyway. Back then, I still thought they were joking. They weren't. They never were. I was their insurance policy, their backup plan, their emergency fund, and I bought it. I bought every guilt-laced request. Every just this one time. Every you're the only one who can help. I remembered Emma's 6th birthday. I asked Marla what she wanted me to buy. She said, something nice, whatever you think. I picked out an engineering-themed Lego set. Emma loved it, squealed with joy. But Marla frowned. Couldn't you get something cuter? Not a thank you, just disappointment. Then there was the beach trip. I thought we were all chipping in. Turns out they only came because they knew I'd cover it all. The hotel, the gas, the amusement park passes. All of it. Ethan slapped me on the back when we got home. People with money should share. You're the one holding this family together, right? Holding it together? No. I was being squeezed dry. I was the load-bearing wall they leaned on so they never had to build their own. I used to think it was noble, to stay quiet, to keep giving, to say it's okay when it clearly wasn't. I skipped a once-in-a-lifetime work trip to Paris, Because Marla was about to be evicted again. $2,200. I didn't go. She didn't remember. Later, she told her friend I lived such a boring life. I remember asking Mom one time, "Do you ever think I've sacrificed too much?" She didn't even blink. "You're the oldest. That's your role." My role? To carry a family that never asked how my back was doing? To be an example? For Marla, who never kept a job longer than 3 months? Or Ethan, who blew through money like it came out of the tap? I pulled into the empty lot of a shuttered mall, parked in the far corner, alone in the dark. I opened my bank app, scrolled through 4 years of transactions, $47,000. That's what I had given away. One transfer at a time, one excuse after another, and not once. Not once did anyone say, "Are you okay?" Not once did I get a thank you card. Or, how's your life going? Or even a damn birthday call. It wasn't the money that shattered me. It was the assumption that I was supposed to give, supposed to suffer, supposed to smile through it all. Because that's what Ava does. I closed the app, opened my email, started gathering receipts, screenshots, texts. She'll cover it, right? Ava always takes care of that stuff. Don't stress, it's not a big deal. Line by line, I built a case. Then I made a call. Her name was Carol Jenkins, a lawyer with a reputation for being sharp, direct, and impossible to intimidate. When I handed her the folder, she didn't flinch, just asked, "How far do you want to go?" I looked her in the eye. "All the way. As far as the law lets me." She nodded. Didn't ask why. Didn't try to soften the blow. Because in her eyes, I wasn't overreacting. I was waking up. The reckoning at the dinner table. Saturday came. I didn't get nervous. I got ready, dressed in black, no makeup, no perfume. Just me, clean, sharp, and done pretending. I brought 3 things: a folder of printed records, my laptop, and every ounce of peace they tried to drain from me. Dinner was at 7. I walked in at 7 sharp. Marla was standing by the window, arms crossed like a sulking teenager. Ethan lounged at the table, legs wide, sipping soda like this was game night. Dad was on the couch, reading a newspaper outdated, like everything he stood for. And Mom? She was lighting candles. Like ambiance could erase the truth. "Ava," she said softly, "I hope we can resolve this peacefully." "Great," I replied. "Let me begin." I pulled out my laptop and connected it to their TV. Big screen. Big truth. The spreadsheet appeared neat, undeniable. Every unauthorized charge, every borrowed dollar, every lie labeled as help, names, dates, amounts. No excuses this time, just facts. "This is $28,740 stolen from my personal account over the last 9 months, I said. Marla blinked. Ethan sat up straighter. Dad put down his paper. "You hacked us?" Ethan muttered. "No," I said calmly. My attorney worked with the bank. All transactions under my name were traced legally. Next slide. 3 years of unreturned loans, rent payments, utility bills, furniture, medical costs, random Amazon charges. None of this had my consent, I continued. Not a single one. Mom sat down slowly, her face pale, voice trembling. "But this is family business." "You don't need to treat it like a lawsuit," I turned. "When you watched your daughter drain my account, when you said, 'You'll be fine,' when Dad called it helping a little, that's not family." I pulled out the printed complaint, laid it flat on the table. This is what I filed with the district attorney's office. Charges: identity theft, financial fraud, emotional exploitation. Marla gasped. "You're insane," she hissed. "This is your own blood." "And what am I to you?" I asked. "A stranger? A bank account? A punching bag for your irresponsibility?" 3 loud knocks interrupted us. Sharp, precise. Everyone froze. Ethan stood up. Mom began to shake. Dad dropped his paper like it burned his hands. I walked to the door, opened it without fear. 3 agents stepped inside. Financial Investigation Bureau. One held a warrant. One carried a tablet. One scanned the room like a battlefield. "Ava Monroe?" the lead asked. "Yes, I'm the complainant." He nodded. "Thank you. We've reviewed the documents. We're ready to begin questioning. Where are Marla and Ethan Pierce?" They didn't answer. Didn't need to. The agents already knew. Marla collapsed into a chair. Ethan muttered a curse under his breath. The agent turned to my mother. MAAM, unauthorized access to someone's financial account is a crime. Family status does not grant exemption. Mom opened her mouth, then closed it. Tears spilled, but not from guilt, from exposure. I didn't know it was this serious, she stammered. I just thought she wouldn't mind. The lead agent didn't flinch. You don't get to decide what someone else wouldn't mind. That's not how consent works. They began collecting statements. The house, once filled with casual betrayal masked as warmth, had gone cold. As I stepped outside to give them space, I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt clear. For the first time in years, I wasn't holding the family together. I was setting myself free. That night, my phone buzzed nonstop. First Mom, then Marla, then Ethan, voicemails, texts, not one apology. Only, you went too far. This could ruin us. We didn't mean harm. They still didn't get it. Still thought I was being cruel. Still thought love meant blind sacrifice. But they were wrong. Because love without respect isn't love. It's manipulation wearing your last name. The place that remembered me. 2 days after the agents left, I packed a single suitcase, a folder of documents, and a journal I hadn't written in since I was 21. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. Because this time, I wasn't leaving to escape. I was leaving to arrive. I drove west, past cities that used to hold memories, past gas stations where I'd once filled up on the way to Marla's emergencies. The car was quiet, not silent from sadness, quiet like fresh snow. Like forgiveness I didn't owe to anyone. After 3 hours, I turned down a dirt road barely lit by dusk. And there it was, the house my grandmother left behind. A 2-bedroom cottage wrapped in wood and memory. Lavender still grew wild along the fence, defiant against time. Just like her, she'd been gone 3 years. But she always knew. If they ever turn their backs on you, she once wrote in looping cursive, this place will never close its door. I stepped onto the porch. The key still fit like it had been waiting. Inside, old citrus peels, dried herbs, warm wood, and something else. Not just nostalgia, a sense of being held. I flipped the switch. Lights worked. Turned the faucet. Water flowed. Even in her absence, my grandmother had prepared this place to receive me. Like she knew. Like she saw this ending long before I ever admitted it had begun. I set down the suitcase, didn't unpack, didn't scroll my phone, just curled up on her worn couch, wrapped in her old quilt, and slept. No buzz, no transfers, no guilt, no one demanding I carry them, just breath and rest. The next morning, I stood on the porch with coffee in hand. Birdsong, golden light through trees. The wind carried something soft. Not grief, something quieter, peace. I didn't cry. I didn't smile either. I just existed. And for the first time in years, that felt like enough. That afternoon, I did something I hadn't done in a decade. I cooked for myself. Red bean soup, garlic toast, a glass of wine in her chipped porcelain cup. No one criticized the menu. No one asked what else I had. No one called me selfish. It was quiet, but not empty. I journaled that night. Just one sentence. Today, I didn't apologize for needing space. The letters came after that. From Mom, from Marla, even from Dad. 10 pages long, filled with guilt without responsibility. Blame without truth. You're tearing the family apart. You went too far. We're suffering now because of you. Still not a single line that said, we were wrong. So I didn't answer. I shredded the letters. I kept the silence. Because not every message needs a reply. Sometimes, the absence of response is the boundary. Then came the lawsuit. Marla filed for emotional distress, defamation, unauthorized access, her final gamble. But I was ready. Carol, my lawyer, smiled when she read the paperwork. Let them come, she said. We're 3 steps ahead. We filed a countersuit. With everything. Bank statements, screenshots, recordings. Even a voice note of Marla laughing Ava always pays. She's so easy. I wasn't angry. I was awake. and I had nothing to lose anymore. While they spiraled, I planted new lavender, rebuilt shelves, hung old photos, read in the sun with jazz playing low in the background. I wasn't healing to prove anything. I was healing because I finally believed. I deserved to. Then one morning, an email came from a name I barely recognized, Nina Carter, a cousin I hadn't seen since we were kids. Her words? Simple. I always thought you were cold, but now I know you were just tired of being used. Thank you for standing up. You gave me the courage to do the same. I left home. I'm finally living my own life. You reminded me I don't need permission to be whole. Thank you, Ava. I read it 5 times. Not because I needed the praise, but because, finally, someone saw me without taking. Not as a bank. Not as a bad daughter. Just a person who had drawn the line and meant it. Months passed. I moved to Portland, started a new job in risk management. The CEO, a woman named Rosa, looked me in the eye during the final interview and said, "We need someone who understands boundaries, not just in policy, but in spirit. You're that person." I got the job, promoted in 90 days. I didn't post about it, didn't call home, didn't send a postcard. That win was mine. Just mine. Every weekend, I walked the river trail near my new apartment, stopped at the used bookstore where the owner let me choose the music, started cooking again, not for anyone, just to taste what freedom felt like, spoon by spoon. One spring night, I stood on the balcony, city lights below, wine in hand, playlist on shuffle. A recording of Grandma's laughter came on, from a picnic long ago. I closed my eyes and smiled. Not because everything was perfect, but because I no longer lived inside a lie. Because no one could reach into my pockets or my peace without permission. Because I was no longer a walking wallet. I was no longer a daughter chained to duty. I was Ava, still here, still standing, and finally, free.